a slight delay at the kick-off. Well, in a moment, I'll introduce you to our studio guest, a Wembley winner for both clubs.
Giles having a go and wide. He does it! My word, that's called everybody, including me. A superb effort by Giles.
Yes, Johnny Giles is with us tonight. Sorry we couldn't find any goals during your Old Trafford career, John. It was quite
long ago, that, I think, Elton.
Days of black and white, John.
Yes, yes.
Now, listen, 10 days ago when these two sides met, I think the pressure was on Manchester United. The pressure was on Leeds United not to lose the game. Has that switched a little bit now?
Well, I think being a cup tie, it is a slightly different approach. But there's such big matches that there's pressure on the home side, I think, on all the matches. I think the league match was extra pressure on Leeds because they couldn't afford to lose it, and United would go on and win the championship.
And in between time, United have lost 4-1 at home to Queen's Park Rangers, which was a real blow to them.
Well, I think that's opened it up again for Leeds to come back at Manchester United, and it was a bad blow to Manchester United that night.
Do you think it will have made any difference that the FA Cup tie was cancelled, and that the fact they've psyched themselves up for 3 games in 10 days, now all of a sudden that's changed a wee bit, hasn't it?
Yeah, I don't think it will matter tonight because I think the Rumble is just as big as the FA Cup now for both sides. So I think Manchester United will be well G'd up for the match tonight, as will Leeds. I think it's just as big as the previous league match and the FA Cup match coming up.
Is it going to be a very heavy pitch tonight in view of the rain there tonight and the way it was last Sunday when it was about 6 inches underwater?
No, I think the Leeds pitch actually is very good for draining. They had a big job done on it on my time there. I think Sunday was exceptional. They must have got a deluge before the match, whereas today, if it's raining constantly during the day, it'll drain okay and it'll be in good condition, I think.
I've just been told, John, actually, that they're coming out imminently and the kick-off hasn't been delayed by 10 minutes, but only by about 3 or 4. So we won't be seeing the game from 10 days ago. We're going to remind you about that, the league game that John's just been talking about. Do you think it might be more physical in view of the conditions tonight, John, than it was a week last Sunday?
Yeah, I don't think it was too physical on the Sunday match.
Exactly.
I think both managers were let the players know that they didn't want to get into a vendetta over the 3 games, and I think that both sets of players behaved themselves very well. I think the conditions tonight, if it's going to be physical, is made for it. It's going to be very slippy. The ground will be in good condition, but it'll be wet, so there's more likely to be sliding tackles and more physical stuff. But I don't think it'll get out of hand. I think both managers are well aware that they're on television, the nation is looking at them, and I don't think they want any trouble.
Actually, the last time we saw a live game in a very heavy pitch, it was at White Hart Lane, Spurs against Liverpool, and the train didn't come on once, which was astonishing, really. Yeah,
I think the behaviour of players nowadays is very good, and you get very few bad tackles. We get a lot of standing offs for technical fouls compared to years ago, and I think some of the standing offs are ridiculous nowadays, but actual bad tackling has gone out of the game a lot.
Well, we can have just a quick look at the goals from 10 days ago. Of course, it was the league game between the two. At Elland Road, Leeds United won, Manchester United won. That's how it finished.
Webb. It's in there. Neil Webb. That was allowed to go a long, long way across that Leeds United penalty area. Lukic must have seen it very late. But Neil Webb, in the opening minute of the second half, has put Manchester United in the lead.
Well, we certainly didn't have to wait long for this goal we were talking about. It was a beautiful volley. Not a good ball by Parker, but rather fortuitously it came just for a moment at any rate to McClare. But here's Rod Wallace taking it up again for Leeds, looking for this equalising goal. McAllister coming on. The great charge is a penalty. Here we go, Saints. It was a beautiful move, and you have to say it was a foul. I mean, he just ran straight into him.
So Mel Sterling looking to make it 1-1. That's what it is.
Well, that really was a lifesaver in the league as far as Leeds were concerned, John. But as I said at the start there, sudden death tonight. It's a different approach, isn't it?
Yes, so a lot of Manchester United wouldn't be unhappy with a draw. I think if they got a draw and got them back to Old Trafford, I think they'd be quite happy with that. But it's certainly set up in the right way for a good game tonight. The pitch will be in better condition, I think, than it was in the league match. It'll be skiddier, better for play. We might get a few more tackles, but it was a lifesaver for Leeds, that's for sure, in that penalty decision.
Right, we can see the teams coming out now, John. They have actually hit the old Elland Road pitch. Another all-ticket affair, of course, and another intimidating atmosphere at Elland Road, just as predicted. They can be a frightening crowd, John. You know that as well as anybody.
Yeah, a very demanding crowd at Leeds. In my time there, they got used to success. And, you know, if you went 1 or 2 up against any opposition after 20 minutes, they'd soon let you know. But I think the Leeds crowd probably a little bit paranoid over the years because we lost a few trophies, we had a few bad decisions against us. And I think the Leeds crowd feel that the world is against them sometimes.
Okay, John, we'll call it quits for the time being. We'll have a good chat again at half-time once the first 45 minutes is over with. Right now, let's join our commentary team at Ellen Road tonight, Gordon McQueen and Clive Tilsley.
Thank you, Elton. A very good evening to episode 2 of the Power Game, with exactly the same cast list as the first in the series here 10 days ago. Manchester United, again without Dennis Irwin and Brian Robson, do have Andrei Kanchelskis and Ryan Giggs back in their starting lineup from the nightmare on New Year's Day. Lee Sharp is back on the bench. It's a very familiar looking Manchester United side. We expect Brian McClair to operate in midfield alongside Neil Webb and Paul Ince, with Kanchelskis and Giggs wide of Hughes. George Courtney took charge of the League Cup final in 1983 when Gordon McQueen was in the Manchester United side, beaten by Liverpool. Gordon every bit as much at home in Leeds as in Manchester. This is the Leeds side, Gordon, full strength. Only Fairclough, Strachan and Wallace have suffered any sustained injury problems during the first half of the season. They have got off rather more lightly than the other main contenders for honours so far. We're yet to see the true depth of their squad. But where's your money tonight?
Well, I think it's very difficult to be confident of predicting any team that's going to win this match tonight. I wouldn't be at all surprised if the match finished in a draw and we went to a replay at Old Trafford.
Well, that's the result that the rest of the championship challengers are hoping for. Here's Lee Chapman for Leeds United, won by Neil Webb and now Paul Ince. Wrexham and Farnborough Town have had their day in the FA Cup spotlight. The League Cup is at the big boy stage, a semi-final place on offer. Leeds United with the best home record in the First Division, Manchester United with the best away record, 1 and 2 in the country, but in which order tonight? It's been raining quite steadily since 4 o'clock this afternoon, but the match never threatened. The pitch will be quick and a little greasy, but better than most in the country at this time of the year. And a little bit of slip and slide might just add to the excitement level. Hughes, Wallace, kicks quickly in behind Chris Fairclough, but Chris White back to his goalkeeper John Lukic. Alex Ferguson said that his team were ready to go here on Sunday. Leeds were maybe more grateful of the postponement. They had an extra match over the Christmas period, 4 games in 11 days, only 1 of which they won. Strachan finding Wallace. Turned away from Pallister. Good save by Schmeichel. Rodney Wallace in high form at the moment. 2 goals in that striking 4-1 win at Goodison in the last round, and testing Peter Schmeichel early on.
This was a great little move, great ball out here to Gordon Strachan, touches it down with his head, a little turn from Wallace, and an excellent save from Schmeichel, held on to the ball as well.
Andrei Kanchelskis, tackled by Tony Dorigo. Both have had a clear week without combat now. It's a break which may just have served to freshen up the workforce. Kanchelskis winning it back from speed. Steve Bruce. Headed by Chris White. Paul Ince first to it. Brian McClair trying his luck. And that was always dipping from McClair. And Lukic was 4 or 5 paces off his line. And Brian McClair fancied his chances then.
He hit this from a long way, and I'll tell you, John Lukic was a worried man here. This ball dipping all the time. Just slipped behind the goals there.
So both sides have had range finders in the opening 3 minutes. Fine early stop by Peter Schmeichel. That was a test of his concentration in the opening couple of minutes. Here's McClair again.
Paul Parker. Kanchelskis is wide of him. Instead in towards Ince with a spectacular attempt, and look how that picked up pace as it bounced in front of John Lukic. Goals are maybe the missing ingredient in Paul Ince's makeup. But both sides showing a willingness and a confidence to test the opposing keeper. It doesn't have the look of a stalemate about it. Here's David Batty. He'll be doubly keen to make an impression this evening. He starts a 2-match suspension at the weekend, which will cost him his place in the FA Cup tie here next Wednesday. Hughes finding Giggs. Gordon Strachan chasing a shadow. Fairclough was there to prevent it reaching Hughes. Sterling caught in possession by Blackmore.
Well, it's certainly been a cracking start to the match. Both teams playing open attacking football, which is great to watch.
I think a lot of it's down to the pitch, don't you, Gordon?
Yeah, well, it always helps, and I think the pitch is a little bit wet like that. It makes for good passing. Players like that, they like to knock the ball around on a slidey surface.
It's very, very lively, and it's dictating the pace of the game in the opening stages. Hughes. No foul. George Courtney had a little smile there as Hughes went to the ground under the weight of Chris Fairclough's challenge. This is Rodney Wallace. Chris White. Dorigo has ventured forward down the left-hand side. Gary McAllister. Strachan. Wallace. Strachan. Cut out by Ince. McClare caught by Sterling. Ince on to Webb. Ryan Giggs on his way and onside, but that time the pitch defeated him. It's amazing to think back 4 days to a waterlogged Ellen Road. Howard Wilkinson insisted then that it was a quick drainer, and really it's taken the rain today so well. It's a true surface, but I repeat, a very, very fast surface. Chris White with a free kick. Aimed towards the head of Gary Speed. Wallace was in there, but Schmeichel was across. But the aerial ability of Gary Speed is no secret now in the First Division. People have become more and more aware of his ability to turn on free kicks and goalkeepers' clearances and to weigh in with his fair share of goals with the head too. Paul Parker will have to watch him very carefully. Batty trying to tidy up, and he's played Neil Webb in here. Lukic went and came back, and a very important clearance by White. Kanchelskis lurking behind him. Sterling is the defender who's getting the ear battering. Manchester United have a corner, it could have been much more. Both Gary Pallister and Steve Bruce are forward. Header away by Chapman deep in defence. Dorigo beating Webb to it. Paul Parker. Dorigo making him go all the way back to Schmeichel.
A little kick that to Schmeichel. So on you go, John. You have another go. Try and get it back up to me.
John Lukic has conceded 5 goals in his last 3 games, more than in the previous 10. There have just been some signs of wear and tear in Leeds United's play over the last month or so. Hughes got his free kick that time. We've had 8 minutes. It's Leeds United 0, Manchester United 0. Time Hughes was penalised. Mark Hughes' reputation does rather go before him. Mud sticks a long time in football, but he really is a wolf in sheep's clothing. He's a soft-spoken, mild-mannered individual off the field, but He puts on that red shirt and he wants to take on the world. But there is just a feeling inside the Manchester United camp that he's been getting a raw deal in the last few weeks. Bruce dealing well with Wallace. Managed to get it back for White. Ince finding Hughes. Kanchelskis had space on the right. Ince was caught late after trying to put Ryan Giggs clear down the left-hand side. Jim McGregor, the Manchester United physiotherapist, is on to administer some treatment.
Well, that's twice Ryan Giggs found a great deal of space down here on the left-hand side. The first ball from Neil Webb, the skiddy conditions sent it out the park, which would have been a very dangerous situation for Leeds United. And that time it was a poor ball by Neil Webb out. And Leeds United would have been under pressure again.
Manchester United may just have preferred an earlier chance to get New Year's Day out of their systems. They'd gone 12 games without defeat before Queen's Park Rangers ambushed them at Old Trafford. Only their third loss of the season. Leeds have been beaten just twice, the last of those 13 games ago, the third week in October since anybody has beaten Howard Wilkinson's side. Ten minutes played. We await the first goal, but there's so much promise about this match. Chris White opened up for him to have a go, and Schmeichel lost it. Wallace couldn't take the chance. Chapman was the first man in. Speed's cross spooned away by Bruce. It was a devilish shot from Chris White for Peter Schmeichel to deal with. He seemed to have gobbled it up and then it slipped away off his jersey.
Well, just mentioning what a good suffer it is for knocking the ball around, but at the same time it's an absolute nightmare for goalkeepers, these skiddy conditions and a wet ball.
Corner in towards Fairclough, came off Webb, good header by Pallister under pressure, got the free kick. Not sure that Peter Schmeichel didn't have the ball kicked out of his hands there, actually.
Well, I think he's complaining here to George Courtney. He felt that the ball knocked away from his hands. But it was a good stop nevertheless. It was a terrific, a really well-struck shot by Chris White, who's been involved plenty in these early stages. It was him that knocked that terrific ball out to Gordon Strachan earlier on, which gave Wallace his chance.
Chris White, who scored at Old Trafford in the semi-final of this competition last season. The semi-final, I need hardly remind you that Manchester United won, and won in some style here thanks to Lee Sharp, one of the substitutes tonight. Hughes. Kanchelskis is onside again. John Lukic having to take evasive action outside of his penalty area.
Well, need to be careful here, Leeds, because that's three occasions already so far in this first half that they've been caught square at the back. If the final ball had been better, they might have been punished.
Webb's made a forward run this time. Parker trying to pick him out. Lukic again committed. It's going to be one long examination of the handling of the two goalkeepers this match. Rain still falling in West Yorkshire. Tony Dorigo. Bruce competing for it well. Bruce and Pallister played so well in the league match here 10 days ago. Lee Chapman was hardly a factor in that match. Dorigo in towards Chapman, turned away by Pallister. Strachan trying to play Mel Sterland in. Instead he's found Gary McAllister. Awkward one for Schmeichel again, tried to punch under pressure from Wallace. Hooked away by Bruce. But Manchester United have got their free kick. The Manchester United goalkeeping coach Alan Hodgkinson early in the season actually set up training sessions for Peter Schmeichel to be buffeted by his own men in order to get him ready for the First Division, which is a rather different proposition from the First Division in Denmark.
Well, I think Wallace jumped up there and just about reached his belly button, but Schmeichel got the foul there now.
Takes a bit of getting used to. A lot of people will tell you that goalkeepers are overprotected, but goalkeepers won't. Ryan Giggs. No pressure on Lukic that time. We've actually got two of the tallest goalkeepers in the First Division on duty today. John Lukic and Peter Schmeichel, both 6'4". I think only Ludo McCloskey at West Ham would have an inch on either of them. It's a great asset for a goalkeeper height, but it's a long way down when these ground shots are whistling in. And there's an invitation to shoot tonight. Blackmore winning it. Turned on by Ince, who looked for a penalty. It was crossed by Hughes. McClare was waiting and White turned it away. Paul Ince still speaking to George Courtney. Felt that he was impeded there. Manchester United have to make do with a corner. Bruce and Pallister are in there again. Giggs with the corner. In towards Steve Bruce, free header. I think he was surprised at the space that he had, Steve Bruce. He was rather caught between two stools there as to whether to angle it back across the face of goal towards a colleague or whether to go for goal himself. Hughes has got a free kick. Shirt was being pulled. It's going to be a difficult one for George Courtney to call that tonight. Chris Fairclough is now being called to him. I thought I detected a little flashpoint in the league game here 10 days ago when it appeared to me that Fairclough actually caught Hughes with a little rabbit punch after the pair of them had fallen to the ground during the second half. Hughes didn't get anything then. He's got a free kick this time. Pallister in towards Hughes, headed away by Fairclough. Chapman. Batty. Tackled by Blackmore. Parker. Charged down by Strachan. Chapman was looking for the return ball. There wasn't another white shirt forward. But each time then when first Webb and then Parker were trying to play the forward balls, there was plenty of movement ahead for Manchester United. Giggs had peeled in from the wing and was making a break down the centre.
Little Gordon Strachan's now popped up on the left. He's chancing his luck over there. They've pushed little Wallace over here onto the right.
Here is Wallace. Batty. Wallace. Chance for Gary Speed! Leeds United in front. 17 minutes gone. Gary Speed, the goal scorer. It flew in. And that little reshuffle worked a treat for Leeds because Wallace helped set it up.
Well, you look at a goal here, a pure class. Look at this for a little touch from Wallace, and my goodness, what a strike from Gary Speed. Gave the keeper no chance whatsoever.
10 days ago, it was Leeds United who had to come from behind. Tonight, it's Manchester United's turn.
This game is shaping up to be an absolute cracker. It's raging from end to end. And the way things are going just now, we could get a few goals in this match.
Well, Manchester United would dearly love to bite back immediately. Ryan Giggs will take the corner. In towards Bruce again, headed away by Speed. Ince trying to force it forward. Batty calming it all down. Well, Gary Speed's been in a vein of goal scoring just recently. He scored 4 during the month of December to double his total for the season. But that vital goal, his 9th of the campaign, gives Leeds United the advantage. Mark Hughes. Neil Webb looking to curl it. It wasn't far away. Neil Webb very much in the wide awake club then. just tried to coax the ball beyond John Lukic.
I think he knew exactly what he was doing here, Neil Webb. He scored a similar goal in the league match. Tries to bend it round with his right foot and just slips past the post.
But the fuse has been well and truly lit. These summit meetings are coming so thick and fast, it's difficult to choose between them, but as Alex Ferguson pointed out yesterday, the League Cup presents the most realistic chance of success for either club. Here's Strachan. Support from Dorigo. In towards Chapman. Schmeichel dealt with it. Both are still 5 wins away from Wembley in the FA Cup. Manchester United have 20 more league games to play, but if you would bet against the winner of this one, matching anyone over a two-legged semi-final. But it's Leeds United who have 1 foot in that semi-final at the moment. Strachan with a free kick. Chapman got a flick but was pushing Gary Pallister right under the nose of George Courtney. "20 minutes gone. Leeds United 1, Manchester United 0.
I think Leeds United have given Manchester just something to think about just now. We altered their tactics a little bit, as I said, with Gordon Strachan's pushed over there and the unaccustomed left-hand side role, and they've pushed Wallace over here on the right, and Gary Speed playing through the middle.
Funny enough, they did exactly the same thing in the closing stages of the league game here. I think they just sensed that Clayton Blackmore, who was back after a stint on the substitutes bench, was tiring that a little bit, and they tried to get Wallace at him. Here's Paul Ince! It was a decent chance. The right smile tells the story. But again, defenders a little uncertain of their footing.
Well, I tell you, I think he'll be a little bit disappointed with this because the ball sits up lovely for him here, and this is more than a half chance.
Chapman. It's a firm back pass. Michael's had plenty coming at him from white shirts without the red starting. Dorigo run out of it by a posse of red shirts. You heard the shout for handball. The referee was having none of it. Offside flag, rather belated against Ryan Giggs.
Well, so far for United, we've seen very little of Kanchelskis so far, probably because the midfield, the Leeds midfield at this moment in time are probably just on top. And Webb and Ince just aren't able to get the ball out to him.
Quarter of the game gone. Leeds United a goal to the good. There's real uncertainty, almost a breakdown in communication between defenders and goalkeeper at that end of the field. Blackmore, Giggs, Fairclough with the challenge. Sterling going back to Lukic this time. But it's not really a night for back passes. The ball can skid so quickly. Here's Parker. Kanchelski's beaten to it by Dorigo. Manchester United have a free kick because Gary Speed had straight offside. Webb. naturally right-footed, can make it difficult for a left-back to gather the ball in his stride there. Wallace unable to do any better. Steve Hodge and John McClellan are the Leeds United substitutes tonight. Here is Andrei Kanchelskis. Didn't quite reach McClare. Fairclough made sure of that. This is McAllister. McClare keeping him under pressure. But Howard Wilkinson says that Gary McAllister is in the best form of his career at the moment. He's absolutely delighted with the contribution of his Scottish international midfield player. Batty catching speed offside.
Well, as a Scotsman, it's lovely to see Gary McAllister playing so well, taking into consideration the European Championships coming up in Sweden this summer. And of course, Gordon Strachan as well.
McAllister did go to the last World Cup, but he didn't play at all, but he's been pretty much a regular in the Scottish setup since then. Strachan an absolute inspiration since he took over the national captaincy in May. Mark Hughes has got the benefit of the doubt that time. He and Fairclough can hardly come together without a decision going one way or the other.
Well, I've seen Clayton Blackmore attempted to hit them from this type of distance, and it may be worth a pot, taking into consideration the surface. We'll see.
Manchester United would like to wheel out Dennis Irwin from the sick bay for this free kick. Webb and Blackmore are queuing up. It'll be Clayton Blackmore, and Lukic just had to help it on his way. Free kick which defeated the wall, but not the goalkeeper.
This is a tremendous strike, power, a little bit of swerve in the ball. And if this had been a yard or two either side of John Lukic, I think he might have struggled to get that one. Good save nevertheless.
Ryan Giggs towards Hughes, got it across the face of goal, and Lukic under pressure from Steve Bruce had to hang on that time. Hughes did well at the back stick. David Batty. Sterling losing his concentration. Had a torrid time against Lee Sharp in the semi-finals last season, Mel Sterling. Mark Hughes. Receiving Sterling, faced by Ryan Giggs. Got some help from David Batty that time. A little bit too much help in the opinion of George Courtney. Manchester United have certainly had some promising positions here. Giggs with a free kick. Bruce beyond the far post. Nobody really responded to that. Chris Fairclough got it away. Neil Webb kept it in. Chapman with a clearance. Inside the volley. Very difficult. Twisting towards goal, the ball waist height, and the offside charge underway.
Yeah, Leeds will need to be careful giving away free kicks and wide positions, because obviously with the aerial threat with Pallister and of course Steve Bruce, who supports a tremendous amount of goals from these situations.
Rumbelows League Cup quarter-final action live from Ellen Road. Leeds United 1, Manchester United 0. The score with 28 minutes played. Leclerc preventing the goal kick. One in the air by Webb for Ince. Kanchelskis. Webb trying it again from long range. The message is clear. Players like Neil Webb and Gary McAllister, the hot shots on the field, are almost bound to have a go when the situation presents itself. Ince. Scott Giggs in behind Sterling again. Support from Hughes and Kanchelskis. Ryan Giggs knocked down by Lukic, just managed to gather it off the toe of Hughes. But Ryan Giggs is getting all kinds of freedom down the left-hand side, and Mel Sterling's got his hands full again.
Yeah, a sigh of relief from Chris White there, because it was him that played Ryan Giggs onside.
He's such a cool customer. He hardly shows any hint of expression. It's almost as if he doesn't really get very excited about being a footballing prodigy, Ryan Giggs, almost as if he preferred to be doing something else. He's grown up very, very quickly in the game in the last 12 months. Handled every challenge that's been put before him. Dorigo, offside, Rod Wallace. Not a lot in it. But since Gary Speed gave Leeds United the advantage, Manchester United have held the upper hand, certainly territorially.
Well, as expected, they've pushed right back at them, Manchester United. Obviously, a lot of experienced players and a lot of tremendous competitors. And as expected, they're doing everything to try and get this equaliser back. But it's as good a Leeds United, Manchester United game I've seen for quite some time. Open attacking football, it's been terrific so far.
Half an hour gone. Leeds United 1 goal to the good. Manchester United have a free kick. Fair club on Hughes again. George Court is 50 years of age now. This is his retirement season. You may recall that he took charge of Manchester United's quarter-final last season at Old Trafford, sent off Jimmy Case in a match with Southampton. It's Blackmore again. Oh, he's found the range this time! Pick that out! "14 minutes of the first half remaining. Manchester United on terms."
Well, he's known as a free kick specialist, Clayton Blackmore. Similar free kick to before, and as we said earlier, just that yard or two to the side of John Lukic, and it beats them all ends up. A fantastic strike, power, swerve, everything on the ball. Gave John Lukic no chance whatsoever.
It's only Clayton Blackmore's second goal of the season. It's been worth waiting for. All square again. And two really dramatic strikes from the Welsh internationals, Gary Speed and Clayton Blackmore. There's an offside flag waving against Rod Wallace, but the free kick has gone Leeds United's way. George Court is waving to the linesman to put the flag down. He's made his decision. Allen Road throbbing. David Batty with the free kick. One bounce into the midriff to Peter Schmeichel. Clayton Blackmore's equaliser. Just look where John Lukic was. He took a couple of paces off his line and then couldn't quite get back.
I don't think, it doesn't matter where he'd been standing, it had difficulty catching that one. It was hit with such power. And as I said, a tremendous amount of swerve on the ball.
Just a bit flat-footed. But you have hit quite a free kick when you dip it over a 6'4" goalkeeper from that range. Strachan, turned away by Bruce. Dorigo has played it perfectly into the path of Ryan Giggs, and Mel Sterling's got to play catch-up again, and he's got there this time. Mel Sterling's 30 years of age now. Ryan Giggs is just 18. It's not really fair, is it?
Yeah, he's a very exciting young talent, young Ryan Giggs. Looks a terrific player.
And the really good news for Mel Sterling is that if Giggs tires, they've got Lee Sharp on the bench. Webb, Kanchelskis onside. Leeds caught flat again. Hughes is at the near post, couldn't reach it. Giggs was beyond the far. Sterling did reach it. But it was 3 against 3 there.
Yeah, he's getting kept busy now, Mel Sterling, with Ryan Giggs. Obviously, he likes a bit of a cavalier approach to his football, Sterling, but he's just not able. He's not been able to get forward at all so far.
Ryan Giggs with a corner. Bruce came crashing in. Whistle's gone. Leeds United have a free kick and some respite. No two teams in the country have been involved in more intense football through the opening half of the season. Just ask Liverpool and Arsenal. Everyone's up to play the top two. Look at Queen's Park Rangers a week ago. The country was full of pundits telling us how well they'd been playing and for how long. 3 days after winning at Old Trafford, they're out of the FA Cup and their season is over. It's tough at the top. It's all about consistency. And these are the two most consistent teams in the country. Dropped awkwardly in front of Webb. White caught in possession by Ince. Managed to smuggle it out to Strachan, still playing on that left-hand side. Dorigo. It's a big climb by Steve Bruce, but the referee happy for play to go on.
Well, in the first 20 minutes of the game, Leeds were getting a lot of width and good crosses into the balls, but they've started knocking a lot of high balls up for Lee Chapman here. And Steve Bruce and Gary Pallister have been handling that situation well.
Hanger from Wallace. Michael first to it. Chapman just managed to turn that one on. He hasn't run a lot in the air so far. Kanchelskis penalised for backing into Dorigo that time. Tony Dorigo just appears to be hobbling. Insult short. This is McAllister. Wallace and Chapman to his right. Cut out by Pallister. McAllister again. Took a deflection. It's a corner. And Manchester United have a problem. I think it's Steve Bruce who's down. He just managed to get a foot there to Gary McAllister's shot. And he's hurt himself in the process.
Well, hopefully Steve Bruce will get up and get on with the game. I mean, he's a key figure for Manchester United. But it looks in some discomfort. I think Gary McAllister just caught him in the kneecap with the sole of his boot, completely unintentional.
There was a time when Manchester United were just a little bit short on real officer material when Brian Robson was out of the team, but now the stripes of command can be passed on to the likes of Steve Bruce. They've got some real born leaders, born winners out there. Mal Donegan, Lee Sharp, waiting and hoping that Bruce recovers, and he has done. Strachan with the corner, flicked on by Speed, dealt with by Pallister, not convincingly. Parker did well. Here's Giggs leading the breakout. Kanchelskis to his right. Parker's up in the attack too. Here goes Paul Parker with Rod Wallace chasing him back. Parker managed to ride his challenge, but David Batty it was who got in the crucial tackle. And here comes Wallace forward. Away from Giggs. Chapman back to Wallace. Good advantage play. Cleared by Webb. It's such an open match. We were expecting a cagey, close affair, but we've had almost whirlwind football. Hell for leather stuff. Webb in towards Hughes, trying to set up McClair, deflected, corner.
good understanding there between Mark Hughes and Brian McClair. It looked at one time as if Mark Hughes was going to spin and try a right-footed shot, but he just left it to Brian McClair, and it bounced off Chris White out for a corner kick.
Leeds United have an injury problem to deal with at the moment. I think Tony Dorigo is the man who's down.
Well, I'm sure the players will be glad of a breather, because it really has been hectic so far.
The Leeds physiotherapist there, Alan Sutton, used to work for Halifax Rugby League Club, so he doesn't stand any messing about. Either your leg drops off or you get up.
It's still really anybody's game, but Manchester United look a bit more dangerous on the counter-attack than what Leeds do.
Paul Parker, who went racing forward in that last attack. But there are so many genuinely quick players on view.
Yeah, it was a great break forward with Paul Parker, but at the same time it was terrific defensive play by Rod Wallace. He tracked Paul Parker all the way, got in a great tackle, and got back up off the ground and started another attack.
5 minutes of the first half remaining. It's Leeds United 1, a goal by Gary Speed. Manchester United 1, equalised by a dramatic Clayton Blackmore free kick. Dorigo back in the land of the living. Ryan Giggs. In towards Hughes again. It was Chris Fairclough who turned it behind for a corner on the opposite flank. Ryan Giggs running the width of the field and then deciding against it. Neil Webb will take responsibility for the right wing corner. Hughes lurking just beyond the far post. Bruce and Pallister making their runs in front of him. Bruce knocked it down. Strachan knocked it away. Back in there by Blackmore, offside against Hughes. They love to hate him, and he loves them to hate him.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be the most popular player with the Leeds fans. But there's been quite a few offside decisions in the match so far, and both linesmen have got it right every single time.
Pallister just managed to scoop that away. He was trying to leave it for Schmeichel and thought better of it. Here's Webb. Dorigo got back that time. It'll be an interesting test of the stamina of these two sides when we get into the final quarter. They've both put so much in already. Schmeichel having to come outside of his penalty area. Well, it was a bit of a mismatch, really. Gordon Strachan's 5'6", and Peter Schmeichel's 6'4". Butter wouldn't melt in his mouth, would it? He's like the naughty little boy at the back of the class. I bet he sits on the back row of the team coach and throws things at the manager. Blackmore, good ball. Brian McClair on his way. Lukic committed and got a hand on the ball. Ryan Giggs away from Sterling. It's gone out of play. There'll be a goal kick. Good goalkeeping by John Lukic. He had two problems then. He had to stop McClair. He had to avoid the penalty, and really a red card might have gone with it, but he got a hand on the ball.
They're really tricky situations now for goalkeepers. A player rushing in at you, you're rushing out to him. What do you do? He handled that one very well. It was a great through ball, first time ball with Clayton Blackmore through to Brian McClair.
McClair, I think, actually got to it first and nicked it away from Lukic, but Lukic in effect made a save. Got the palm of his hand on the ball and knocked it away, and Ryan Giggs couldn't quite keep it in. Kanchelskis halted by Speed. This is Strachan. McAllister running away from Ince. crossed by speed. Disappointing.
Yeah, that was a pity. Gary Speed there. Normally in those situations he whips in great crosses, but that one wasn't.
Well, with only a minute and a bit of the first half remaining, Tony Dorigo has had to make way. John McClellan will take his place. 36 years of age now, McClellan. He played it right back in the opening games of the season. He is really a centre defender by trade, but he's going to slot in at left back. But in losing a defender, Leeds United have actually lost one of their more potent attacking weapons because Dorigo gets forward so well. I don't think McClellan will get forward nearly so well down that side. I don't think he'll attempt to. Sterling in towards Wallace. Pallister did really well there. Speed's got it back. Batty. Tackled by Ince, linesman flag. George Courtney didn't look as if he was going to give that. And I have a feeling the referee had a rather better view than the linesman.
Yeah, I didn't look a great deal in that. Paul Ince is none too happy about it either. The linesman overruling George Courtney there, because George Courtney was just going to wave play on.
Stoppage time at the end of the first half. McAllister's free kick. Headed behind by Pallister, and Manchester United will have a corner kick to defend against in these closing seconds. Strachan. Header away by Ryan Giggs, only as far as Mel Sterling. Didn't really get hold of it as he would have wished, and it was quite a comfortable save for Schmeichel and quite a comfortable throw over the halfway line. And here's Brian McClare with Webb and Konchesky for support, and Sterling got back there. It was McClellan in actual fact, the substitute, but Sterling was alongside him, and Sterling it was who had the shot at the other end of the field just seconds earlier.
Just as well McClellan got back, because Neil Webb was waiting for that to slam that one home.
Ryan Giggs with the corner. In towards Steve Bruce, runs through to Neil Webb. Set up for Paul Ince. Charged down, and it's Leeds United now on the counter. You'd think these were the last few seconds of the game, never mind the first half. It's Gordon Strachan. Wallace to his right. Rod Wallace offside. Wouldn't have mattered anyway. What a breathless game this is.
Well, little Golden walks past Clayton Blackmore here, maybe took the wrong option because Gary Speed had motored up the left and was in a good position on the left-hand side. Rod Wallace maybe just a little bit too tight the angle there. And of course offside as well.
Wallace was the widest man. He was looking along the line. He shouldn't really have been caught. We played 2 minutes of added time now at the end of this first half. It's the sort of half you just want to go on and on. I suspect the 22 men down there will be glad of a breather though. Steve Bruce penalised. Not a decision that he rated too highly. George Courtney just reminding him who the referee is. Chris White has gone forward. Chris Fairclough has gone forward. Mel Sterling is just pacing his run-up like an opening bowler for Yorkshire. It's Mel Sterling right into the wall. John McClellan. Goal kick. Well, who would have thought just after 8 o'clock this evening when this game kicked off that we would see these two sides committing themselves so willingly to attack. It's been almost reckless at times. It's been a fabulous spectacle.
just give me 45 minutes of the same in the second half, please.
McClare. Lukic just stayed at home and waited for the ball. That's the end of a tremendous first half. Mouth-watering stuff. Leeds United taking the lead with a goal beautifully worked by Rod Wallace for Gary Speed, lashed in with his left foot, but matched by his Welsh international colleague Clayton Blackmore, who bent a tremendous free kick over the wall to equalise. Manchester United have maybe just had the edge, particularly on the break, but at half-time the scoreline is 1-1. We'll be back with Elton Welsby and Johnny Giles after this break.
Welcome back, 1-1 at Ellen Road. We had to wait 4 minutes. It was a delayed kick-off, but it was well worth waiting for, John, wasn't it? What a super first half.
Yes, excellent first half. Plenty of pace, plenty of power in the game, plenty of skill. Unlike the first match, in fact, I think that we saw more in that 45 minutes than we did in the 90 minutes.
How much is that to do with the pitch?
A lot to do with the pitch. Nice and wet, the pitch, and the ball is skidding across it, which gives the players extra time on the ball who are receiving it. More pace, comes to you quicker. So therefore more time to get on the ball and less tackles in the game.
Leeds took the lead, 17 minutes gone. Are you surprised that it took that long?
I thought Leeds opened well. They looked the better team early on. Took the game to Manchester United and looked dangerous.
Of course, when the goal came, Rodney Wallace, a player who's impressed you, we were talking about before the game, you were always impressed with his sharpness.
Very quick, and the lead up to it, a good flick on. Put it in, but the key to that is Parker. Look where Parker is there, out of the picture. He should have been in the cover position because Bruce didn't know whether to go to attack the ball, and he made a little flick for Wallace. I think if Parker had been in the position that he should have been in, then Bruce wouldn't have had to commit himself to Wallace to let the ball be flicked past him.
Leeds didn't take the initiative at that point. Was that their fault, or was it because Manchester United took the game away from them?
Well, I think what happens in these big games, I think when you do go into the lead, any team, they've got something to lose then, and they go into their shell a little bit. Whereas the team who have gone behind know that they've got to get back into the game, and therefore it's natural for them to take the initiative. Leeds surrendered that a little bit to Manchester United, and I think Howard Wilkinson would get onto them at half-time about that.
Enter Clayton Blackmore onto the scene.
Yes, well, he's a very good striker of the ball, and this is a free kick that he hit early on, and if you notice the shape of that kick, it was going away from Lukic to his right, and it was an excellent free kick.
He had a second bite of the cherry, John, because of this decision. What do you make of it?
Well, the Leeds players weren't too happy about that. They said that Hughes was backing up into him. Now, Hughes didn't even lose his feet there, and I would say that was a very, very harsh decision.
And the goal?
There's the goal. It's a similar kick as he took last time, except the angle was a little bit better for him. And if we did see it again, Lukic does take a couple of steps forward.
I think he did learn from the first one, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
He almost got beaten with the first one.
Yes, I think he got the first one because he stayed on his line. That one, for some reason or other, he took a couple of steps forward and made the free kick for Blackmore. It was a good free kick, but it was a little mistake by Lukic to get too far forward there.
1-1 at half-time. Of course, John, there are 3 other quarter-finals being played tonight. You've got Crystal Palace against Nottingham Forest. There's Peterborough against Middlesbrough. No goals in those 2 games, but at White Hart Lane, Spurs against Norwich, and there is a goal there, John. Norwich have actually taken the lead against Tottenham. Robert Fleck, although I do believe that Gary Mabbott has a rather significant role to play in this. First time we've seen it, of course. Oh.
He's very unlucky there. Fleck is a good striker of the ball. He turned on it very quickly, but Mabbott might have got a little bit closer a little bit earlier, and therefore the deflection wouldn't have been as bad as it was. But it's probably been a little bit harsh on him there. I think.
I don't think I've got enough fingers on both hands to count the number of times Gary Mabbott has had unfortunate deflections.
Well, I think a lot of that, the reason for that is that he's probably one of the first players in this Tottenham defence to charge the ball. You know, it's usually a good sign actually in a defender when he does get a couple of deflections. It's very unlucky that it happens.
Fair comment. I mean, we'll have to just wind it up there, but you can remember that the Cup final in '87, the England game quite recently, and I think the game against Liverpool that we talked about earlier in the programme, because he was attacking the ball. Yeah. Unlucky. Unlucky Gary. Right, 1-0 then at White Hart Lane. 1-1 at Ellen Road, the entire 45 minutes live right after the break.
It's a fact that 9 out of 10 people still aren't eating enough fibre. So it's worth
Welcome back. Lots to look forward to in the next 45 minutes. Coming up very shortly from Ellen Road. It's Leeds United 1, Manchester United 1. That's the half-time score. John, you were mildly critical of John Lukic for the Manchester United goal, but you've got to say he came up with a very thoughtful piece of goalkeeping towards the end of the first half, which prevented United taking the lead.
Yeah, first-class goalkeeping this. A lot of goalkeepers would give a penalty away in this situation. He got his body well away from McClare and just got a hand to it. A lot of keepers would have attacked the ball with their body there, and McClare would have nicked him, and he'd have got a penalty kick, or a good chance for a penalty kick there.
You put yourself in Howard Wilkinson's shoes shortly before the break there. What will Alex Ferguson, what sort of philosophy will he be adopting at half-time?
Well, I think Mel Sterling has been a little bit of a weakness for Leeds on the right-hand side. He made a mistake early on in the game, and it seemed to affect his nerves, and I think he's made a couple sins. So I think get the ball as wide as possible to the wingers, because McClellan now has come on for Dorigo, and I don't see McClellan looking particularly comfortable in that position.
Well, in fact, they've just kicked off, John. You've only missed a couple of seconds. Let's rejoin Gordon McQueen and Clive Tilsley.
More of the same, please. The request from the viewing millions. Gary McAllister trying to oblige. It's been blockbuster armchair entertainment. But can you guess the ending? McAllister sneaking in to get the first strike at goal in this second half. It won't be the last. Amazingly enough, more than 10 years have passed since Leeds United's last win over Manchester United. They didn't meet as regularly in the 80s as they did in the 70s and 60s, but it's 8 games without defeat nonetheless. Howard Wilkinson still to get the better of Alex Ferguson in 6 attempts over the last couple of seasons, but every one a close encounter, just as they were in the days when Nobby Stiles and Norman Hunter were kicking lumps off each other. Chris White, turned on by Wallace. McAllister trying to get in behind Ince. And Gordon McQueen, who left Ellen Road for Old Trafford in what was a record deal between two English clubs at the time in February 1978. The second half beginning in much the same fashion that the first ended.
Yeah, well, the first half, as we say, was just absolutely tremendous stuff, and by far the best Leeds United Manchester United clash I've seen in quite some time. And by the looks of things, the second half's going the same way. We've already had a shot from Gary McAllister, and action at John Lukic's end as well.
John McClellan filling in at left back for Tony Dorigo, who was injured in the closing stages of the first half. Here's Speed. Clearance was by Blackmore. Batty. In towards McAllister. Headed by Parker. Strachan back to McClellan. Headed by Pallister. Mark Hughes. Clayton Blackmore. Chris Fairclough. Chris White. Fairclough tops forward towards Wallace this time. Bruce with a header away. Kicks there ahead of Batty. Fairclough. Offside against Lee Chapman. Big centre forwards don't get too much rich praise. About the highest compliment that's ever paid to a player like Lee Chapman is that he's awkward or he's a handful. But plenty of appreciation from their teammates. And of course he does have Leslie Ash to go home to every night. Life just has its consolations. That's another massive clearance from Schmeichel, and Lukic had to make a save. Schmeichel will score one of these days. Clearance by Bruce, headed by Kanchelskis under very fierce pressure from John McClellan.
I would expect Manchester United to try and get a lot of the ball to Kanchelskis early on in this second half, just to see if John McClellan can play left back or not. Obviously normally accustomed to the central defensive role.
To watch him play, you wouldn't think that pace was one of his attributes, but you ask the players who play against him, he's no slouch, McClellan. He was actually available on the transfer list during the summer. He had a heel operation last season. He's filled in very well for Leeds in a couple of defensive positions already during the campaign, and he's got to fill in again tonight in a crucial one here against Kanchelskis. McAllister, White, McClellan back to Lukic this time. Pallister's header, David Batty, Mel Sterland. A little bit of aggravation from the Leeds United support. There's a lot of discussion in the days leading up to the kick-off about the rather intimidating atmosphere here, and Alex Ferguson made the point that when you have fanatical supporters, they can as easily get frustrated with you as they can get behind you. That'll be music to Manchester United ears. Here's Lee Chapman, tackled by Steve Bruce. Gary Speed. Did well to find Strachan there, and here's Batty with a bit of space, and there's not much of that about. David Batty claimed that it took a deflection. It's a goal kick. David Batty scores once every blue moon. He's only ever got 2 goals for Leeds United. Both of those were against Manchester City, strangely enough.
Well, it was a very good strike with Batty, but initially it was terrific play by Gary Speed, hemmed in by Neil Webb and Paul Parker right on the left touchline. And Speed wiggled his way through, ball fell to Batty, and a good shot, but wide.
Giggs. Onto Kanchelskis, onside. He slipped it past Lukic, and Manchester United are in front. Andrei Kanchelskis with 6 minutes of the second half gone.
It might just get caught a little bit square here. The ball comes through here. John McClellan tries to play him offside, but he wasn't. Just slipped it under John Lucas's arms.
Ryan Giggs it was who played him in.
John McClellan just checks his run here, but he's onside. Brave play by Kanchelskis, and well, there's going to be more goals to come in this game, I'm sure of that.
Manchester United in front for the first time. Andrei Kanchelskis' 5th goal for the club. There's a lot of uncertainty surrounding his international future at the moment. Nobody quite knows what's going to happen to the USSR team. But he's put all the troubles in his homeland behind him and been an instant hit in Manchester.
I think since the first 20 minutes of the game, when Leeds United were looking the more progressive side, I think it's Manchester United that have come back very strongly and look dangerous every time they attack, and look the team more likely to score.
But Kanchelskis is a dashing, darting sort of winger. You hold your breath and hang on tight when he's in possession. Something usually happens, and it happened then. Here's Ryan Giggs. Cross dealt with by David Batty, only for Neil Webb. Popped back in for McClare, the flag went up. I can't believe that it was McClare. It might just have been the retreating Mark Hughes. McClare seemed to have got his run dead right. Offside. The League Cup in its various forms and favours is a notable omission from the Manchester United honours list. Alex Ferguson has certainly noted it. But who was offside there?
No, I think Brian McClare timed his run perfectly there. I mean, that was he was very unlucky that the stand-side linesman here ruled him offside.
Gary Speed, tackled by Paul Ince. David Batty. Absolutely enthralling match. Gordon Strachan. Space for Rod Wallace. Speed and Chapman waiting. Charged down by Blackmore. They're still waiting. Batty in towards Strachan. Seen well by Gary Pallister and cleared by Brian McClare, and here goes Webb, and there goes Kanchelskis down the middle, and he's onside this time, but Chris Fairclough managed to get back there with a tackle. Kanchelskis appeals to the referee. He felt he was fouled. I think Fairclough's last-ditch challenge was a good one.
Yeah, that was a tremendous recovery tackle with Chris Fairclough there, because well, Kanchelskis was clean through with only Lukic to beat there. Full of confidence after just having scored the goal that takes Manchester United 2-1 in front.
10 minutes gone in this second half. It's Leeds United 1, Manchester United 2. A goal by Andrei Kanchelskis 6 minutes after the break has given Gary McAllister and company a lot to think about. Mel Sterling with the free kick. Headed by Pallister. Again, he's been the dominant force in that penalty area. McClare. So much good movement by Manchester United on the break. Giggs finding Ince. Ryan Giggs again. Plenty of support on the right-hand side. Parker had stolen forward, and Webb's found him. And United have 4 waiting for the cross. It's a great one, Ryan Giggs! 2 goals in 4 minutes. Clear daylight for Manchester United. Ryan Giggs puts them within sight of the semi-finals.
Well, it's terrific build-up play here. The ball eventually coming out to Paul Parker, and he curls in a delightful ball here. And Ryan Giggs bundles it over the line. I think tonight Manchester United have defended, we mentioned Pallister there, Steve Bruce, who I think is the best central defensive partnership in the league. They've defended a lot better than what Leeds United have tonight.
They've got some defending to do here, but they've got Peter Schmeichel to help out. Great cross from Paul Parker, trying to re-establish himself in Graham Taylor's plans, and I just wonder whether right back might just be his England position. Here's Kanchelskis. But Neil Webb played Parker in, and it was a teasing ball which Giggs managed to bury. But really the width and the pace in the United side is tailor-made for Neil Webb. He's got Mark Hughes ahead of him, and Kanchelskis and Giggs wide of him. He's like a quarterback with 2 good wide receivers. He's got such good range in his passing, and he can hit them all night long.
Well, this really does leave Leeds United in a predicament now. They really have to push forward. And when you look at the Manchester United forward line, they've got players that are more than capable of taking advantage of the Leeds back 4 pushing forward. And they could go further behind.
Paul Ince. Paul Parker. Batty. Strachan. Cut out by Webb. Parker. Ince. Hughes. Given away though under pressure from White to Rod Wallace, but the referee has penalised Chris White. Mark Hughes might just have got a fortunate break there. Blackmore on towards Giggs. Again, he's got the better of Sterling. Ryan Giggs going on, and he didn't really need to. He had McClare bursting into the penalty area just to his right, and Leeds have managed to see him off. But an instant ball there from Giggs, and Leeds United were undone.
Well, it must be terrific for Manchester United fans going to Old Trafford on Saturday to watch the emergence of this young Ryan Giggs, because he really does look something special.
McClare. Kanchelskis is down the middle this time, so he looks to the left and Giggs. White the buffer. Last year's final was Manchester United second without luck in the competition. Leeds were winners in their one and only final, 1968, the year of Terry Cooper's winning goal against Arsenal. And a winner's medal for a certain J. Giles, Esquire, on that afternoon. But it's Manchester United who are looking Wembley bound at the moment. Batty. Bruce is there again. Bruce and Pallister have attacked the ball so well.
There really has been so many twists and turns in this game that you can't really rule Leeds out yet. But they've got an awful lot to do.
Alex Ferguson felt that his team were guilty of trying to protect the one-goal lead that they held in the league match here 10 days ago. And they didn't push on for more. They've done that tonight. And they really are in the boss position now. Although Chapman is onside here. Shot didn't carry enough weight.
Yeah, well, he never really took advantage of a mistake by the linesman there because he looked yabs offside.
Gary Speed. Gordon Strachan. Speed again. Strachan in support once more. Gary McAllister. More promise this from Leeds. Strachan. Crowded out. Got it back. McAllister. Tried to help it into Gary Speed. Gathered it well. Pallister stood in his way, but there's no penalty this time. Batty crunching in on Ince. Pallister finding McClare. Kanchelskis making a run ahead of him. There goes Andrei Kanchelskis again, but this time it's overhit by McClare.
Yeah, Kanchelskis is quite good. He's not that quick. Actually, Brian McClare's had a marvellous game in the middle of the park for Manchester United tonight, as has Neil Webb.
He's like a messenger, isn't he? He just runs little messages around the field, McClare, keeping the wingers in touch with the midfield, popping up alongside of Mark Hughes, making sure he's all right. United have a kind of diamond with Webb as an anchor man, Giggs out wide there, Kanchelskis on the right, and McClare just works inside of it. But Giggs it was who gave Manchester United that 2-goal advantage from Parker's cross. His 5th of the season, his 6th for Manchester United. And Leeds United will make a substitution, and it's Lee Chapman who's going to be replaced by Steve Hodge. No indication that Chapman's injured. I think it's plan B. They've tried the aerial route without success, and they instead turn to Steve Hodge, twice a League Cup winner with Nottingham Forest. And Gary Speed takes the free kick quickly for Strachan. It looks like Hodge is going to play up the front. He's the furthest man forward there.
Yeah, well, the aerial threat just hasn't worked for Leeds United tonight. Pallister's dominated Chapman, but I'm still sure they'll be quite glad to see the back of him because, as we said, he is an awkward customer to play against.
Howard Wilkins has actually just pushed Gary Speed up alongside Rod Wallace. Hodge will play in midfield. Strachan still wide on the left where he's been for much of the match. But it's only really a base for him. He does his best work inside. Hodge and Batty at the heart of the midfield. Batty on. Clearance by Bruce. McAllister's won himself a corner. Gary Pallister across to block him. And it's now or never, you feel, for Leeds United. Strachan's corner, forced out as far as Steve Hodge. Awkward deflection. Good header by Hughes, good clearance by Parker. Batty. McClellan. Strachan. He almost sold Batty short there. McClare got the ball back, and then Batty won it back. And here's Sterling. McAllister. Chris Fairclough still forward, but Andrei Kanchelskis has come all the way back. Owen Strachan has won the ball from Blackmore, but the linesman's flagging.
Yeah, little Gordon, tremendous for his age there. Ran fully 30 yards to close Clayton Blackmore down there. But it looks as if Gordon will play more of a central midfield role now.
"20 minutes of the second half played. Leeds United 1 and Manchester United 3. Those two goals in the opening 10 minutes of the second half from the two Manchester United wingers, Andrei Kanchelskis and Ryan Giggs, have given them the upper hand. Steve Bruce. Neil Webb. McClellan got a foot to that, but speed gave it straight back to Webb. Broke off McClellan for Kanchelskis. Here's Ince. Parker's getting forward again. McClellan got it away. Pallister down for Strachan. McAllister. Nothing to his right. Now Wallace offering him something. Gary Pallister matching Rod Wallace stride for stride, and that means that Gary Pallister is very quick. McClare, just offside Neil Webb. But Leeds are committing so much now in pursuit of this game that Manchester United threaten on every counter.
Manchester United didn't have to pay a lot of money for Gary Pallister, but my goodness, it's been money well spent. Him and Bruce at the heart of United, and the Manchester United defence have been magnificent tonight.
Alex Ferguson, who celebrated his 50th birthday on New Year's Eve, he must have felt about 100 by the end of New Year's Day after Queen's Park Rangers had finished with him. I bet he's feeling 21 again tonight. McClare, just behind Giggs. Strachan. Hughes making it awkward for him. Webb gathering the ball. McClare. There goes Kanchelskis beyond him. Parker. A bit of a cul-de-sac. And Bruce. And Leeds force their way back into possession then. There's an offside flag up against Gordon Strachan. There's just a wee bit of a dilemma here for Alex Ferguson. There's not many, 3-1 up, but he does have the fresh legs of Lee Sharp available to him. There's no real sign of tiredness from the men out there, but they put a lot in, and Sharp could just be devastating against the threadbare defence, couldn't he?
Well, we've seen that in the Rumbelows Cup semi-final last year when he scored late in the game, but the front three have been so effective tonight for Manchester United. It'd be a shame for any of them to come off.
Leeds have had a bit more of the ball in the last 10 minutes, but they haven't found a way through. Webb has timed his run this time, but McClellan got there with a header. White almost caught between the Devil and the Deep Blue Sea. Been a roaring atmosphere inside Ellen Road from the first whistle tonight. But it's the Manchester United fans who are making their voices heard at the moment, and no wonder. 3-1 their team lead. Gordon Strachan, David Batty, Chris White. He's the last man. There's nowhere else for him to go. Chris Fairclough, Gary McAllister, Rod Wallace, Sterling starting an overlapping run. Webb's back there covering. It's a Manchester United throw. Great competitor, Mel Sterling. He won't give it up. Wallace. Sterling. In towards Fairclough, who's forward, away by Bruce as far as McAllister. Shot was deflected as Bruce slid in, but it just took the pace off Gary McAllister's shot. Didn't deviate too much. It wasn't a problem for Peter Schmeichel. And neither's that. And now they might have a problem. Rod Wallace, Gary Speed, Gordon Strachan. Webb made the challenge. Manchester United made a rod for their own back then.
We'll see what Schmeichel does with this time. That was an astonishing mistake. The ball slipping out his hands and nearly get punished for it.
I knew what I was doing. It's a Manchester United throw. And Alex Ferguson, I think, is contemplating a change. Ball in's caught by Gary Speed. United have a free kick. And Leeds very much chasing the game now. Each challenge has a smack of desperation about it. Blackmore. Headed away by White. McAllister. Managed to break the challenge of McClare and Blackmore. McClare's gone down clutching his face. Gary McAllister goes on. Gary Speed. In towards Steve Hodge, but it's a little bit too long for him. And Leeds are just running out of ideas as their frustration grows, so a little bit of the precision goes out of their game. Plenty of heart about the Leeds United performance, but there's been a clinical efficiency about Manchester United, particularly on the break. Clinical possibly isn't the right word because it's been exhilarating to watch.
Yeah, there is a hint of desperation coming into the Leeds play because they really aren't making any headway at all. But the game's been played in a great spirit tonight. No bookings.
McAllister got a back flip there. Pallister dealt with it. Rather muted handball appeals, but it was on the thigh. (3-1) Manchester United lead. Clearance by Pallister. Chris White. Tossed in towards Speed, got a knock on for Wallace that time. Clayton Blackmore covering. Nothing doing for Rod Wallace. Beaten at this stage by Manchester United with his previous club, Southampton, last year. And Mark Hughes scored 4 times over the 2 games, including a hat-trick at Old Trafford. Hughes sniffing for another one here. Well, it's not so bad when you miss kick in front of your own fans. And it's not so bad when you miss kick when you're 3-1 up. And here comes Lee Sharp. Andrei Kanchelskis is the man who will make way for him. He's done his bit, that crucial second goal. And Lee Sharp, who made his comeback here 10 days ago after a 7-month injury absence, says he's won one big battle against fitness and now faces another one to regain his place.
Yeah, they've just switched Ryan Giggs over to the right now, but I don't think it really makes much difference to this lad where he plays.
I'm sure Mel Stillen will be absolutely delighted to be seeing Lee Sharp again on his side of the field.
I'm not so sure about John McClelland, although.
Here is Sterland. He's thinking more about attacking than defending at the moment. McAllister. Kicks back there doing a defensive stint. Batty. Fairclough. Forced back by McClare and Webb. Flick on by Hodge. There's an offside flag up against Wallace. 15 minutes remaining. 3-1 Manchester United lead. Leeds were in front after 16 minutes through Gary Speed. A goal equalised just after the half hour by Clayton Blackmore's free kick. Then Kanchelskis and Giggs struck in the opening 10 minutes of the second half. And Manchester United have been in control ever since. David Batty. Offside again, Rod Wallace.
They've been extremely well organised tonight at the back, Man United. And of course the front three, Hughes, Giggs, Kanchelskis, they're closing the Leeds back four down so quickly they just can't build from the back.
20 years ago I recall Frank O'Farrell's Manchester United taking a 5-1 beating here, but since that day in 1972 they've lost just once in 12 visits to this ground. Manchester United have a very good record at Ellen Road, but then so do Leeds United. They're unbeaten at home in the Major League and Cup competitions so far this season, but they're going to need a minor miracle to maintain that record. And halt Manchester United's Rumbelows charge towards Wembley. Steve Bruce has gone forward for the free kick, taken by Clayton Blackmore, header away by Chris White. Neil Webb, blocked by Gary McAllister, Manchester United throw. To the accompaniment of the travelling Stretford Enders, Manchester United come forward again. Clearance by McClelland. But Leeds just haven't been able to change anything. They haven't really been able to get Hodge into the game. Strachan has flitted around the fringes. McAllister's had his moments at the heart of the action, but nothing sustained, nothing concerted. Manchester United have seen to that.
Well, McAllister's battled away the whole second half, but really Gary Speed and Gordon Strachan, players who are looking to give the ball and get into the game and do that something a little bit special, really haven't been in it in this second half at all.
Didn't exactly look contented on the Manchester United bench there, did they? Brian Kidd was asking for more. For Howard Wilkinson, it's just a case of fingers crossed now. A team that have already exceeded his expectations this season have got to come up with something more. Giggs. Sharp. Ince. They've got men over to the left. Neil Webb trying to play Brian McClare, and the flag's up again. Leeds United will have a free kick. Nothing he can do. Neil Webb. That was sweet. In towards Shaw, headed away by Fairclough. Hodge clearing. Strachan. McAllister. Strachan taking over. Sterling striding forward but leaving it for speed. Strachan again. But it broke down, I think, more through fatigue as much as anything. McClare. Lee Sharp kept it in. He's got Hughes in support, he's got McClare in support. He couldn't link up with either of them. Speed. Strachan. Howls of frustration as he took that little check away from goal. Wallace has made the run and Wallace is onside this time. Rodney Wallace! It wasn't a million miles away. It's the first clear sight of goal that Leeds United have had for a while. It's a little wake-up call for Manchester United, a little reminder.
There's a lovely little ball in here. I think Manchester United were looking over at the linesman to see if Rod Wallace was offside, but I think he timed his run well there. That wouldn't have set up the last 10 minutes or so to be exciting if that one had went in.
Just under 10 minutes remaining. 3-1 Manchester United lead. Rod Wallace. Spooned in towards Hodge, headed away inevitably by Pallister. Hodge, well, he had to be offside, although the flag wasn't raised. Batty tried to lift it back into him.
You can't help but be impressed with Manchester United tonight. I mean, they really do look a side that could go on to win the championship, and possibly a cup or two as well. That's if they steer clear a serious injuries to key players. But they're doing this tonight without Brian Robson, remember.
Their league form did get a little bit lost amidst their cup adventures last year. Didn't matter too much a year ago, but it matters more than anything now that the championship effort doesn't suffer. But the best prescription for weariness in any football squad is to keep on winning. They are now getting into that merry business of taking every game as it comes. They dare lift their heads with replays and rearranged dates maybe looming on the horizon. As Alex Ferguson says, footballers can't be choosers. They can't prepare to peak at a particular time like an athlete looking to get ready for the Olympic Games. These athletes have got to peak twice a week for the next 4 months or so. They count the medals when it's over. And off they go to the European Championship finals, and then back they come for more. Steve Bruce, David Batty, Steve Hodge. Batty lifted over, well, tried to lift it over Blackmore, who recovered well. Hodge took a tumble under pressure from Ince, but George Courtney won't play on. Ince has never been far from the heart of the matter tonight.
Well, it would be a really tremendous psychological boost for Man U as well, with the forthcoming FA Cup tie coming up. And of course a tremendous boost after the shock result against Queen's Park Rangers at Old Trafford.
Peter Schmeichel still going for goal. They just pushed that one a little bit. John Lukic unable to link up with John McClellan. McAllister there again. Blackmore. McClare. One back momentarily by McAllister, eventually forced into the path of Sterling. Off goes Rod Wallace. But again, Pallister stretching those long legs. The Northwest heats of the Rumbelows Sprint Challenger later this month. I don't know if anybody in the Manchester United squad will have the breath to compete, but they've got some contenders, haven't they? And I tell you what, Gary Pallister will be up there with the flying machines ahead of him. Here's one of them, Lee Sharp. They've got quite a sprint relay squad together now, United, with Sharp, Giggs, Kanchelskis, and maybe Pallister running the anchor leg.
Well, Lee Sharp got to a ball there that he had just no right to get to at all. Sprinting in front of Mel Sterling.
Headed by Bruce. Strachan still working away. The tablet still doing the job. Header away though by Parker. Chris White. Good tackle by Paul Parker. Last 5 minutes, 3-1 Manchester United lead. Gordon Strachan. McAllister. Batty. Somebody's got to take responsibility for Leeds. Wallace flicking it on. Behind Hodge, chance for John McClelland! Story. The 36-year-old defender who's never scored for Leeds, hasn't scored for anybody for more than 5 years. I don't think he'll have had a chance quite as good as that one during that period.
Well, this is a golden opportunity for John McClelland here to make it a grandstand finish. The goal gaping at me. Well, a central defender's shot.
He went about it as if he knew what he was doing, actually. He was really trying to pick his spot in the top corner. Maybe a good old-fashioned central defender's swipe might have been better. Lee Sharp in towards Ryan Giggs, header away by Chris White. Gary Speed, Manchester United have Mal Donaghy ready to come on. And they're going to give Ryan Giggs a rest, I think.
Yeah, well, I think Malik Ferguson might play a little bit defensive for the last few minutes. He's a little bit concerned about the chances that cropped up there for Rod Wallace and John McClelland.
So Donaghy is on and will play just in front of the back four, I think. The heart of the midfield. There he is with Gary McAllister and Mal Donaghy winning out. Finding Lee Sharp. Now, is this a fitting finale? There's an offside flag up. Hughes was caught as Webb's cross came in. But we're inside the last 3 minutes now.
Actually, George Courtney's handled the game extremely well, which is always a potentially difficult fixture. He's been first class this evening.
Rod Wallace. Chris White. Knocked away by Ince. Fairclough. Speed. Batty. One back by Sharp. Hughes. Webb. Showed a bit too much of that to Wallace. Strachan. Wallace. I don't think Pallister's gone in for a ball and not emerged with it tonight, either on the ground or in the air. Webb. Oh, and Sharp was just offside. There's another sweeping move. Webb looking at Lee Sharp, rather disappointed that he scored his handiwork.
Yeah, it was a lovely switch of play by Neil Webb, but Lee Sharp just a little bit anxious there and got himself into an offside position.
Sharp said himself that it'll take him half a dozen games to really get his match fitness back. Here's Lee Sharp. Neil Webb. Paul Parker. Through Strachan, but only for Hodge. McAllister. Strachan. McAllister, but Neil Webb didn't figure in their plans. Brian McClare, very definitely onside this time. In towards Lee Sharp. Oh, he must have got a sniff of it as it whistled in front of his face, but he couldn't get a touch. Well, we're deep inside the final minute, Gordon McQueen. We'd like you to nominate a man of the match.
Well, it's such a difficult one with so many outstanding performances. Brian McClare, Neil Webb, Chelsea's getting 2 goals. But the rock in which they've floundered tonight has been Gary Pallister at the back for Manchester United. He's my man of the match.
Well, he was man of the match here 10 days ago when he conceded a penalty to boot. But Neil Webb and the creative boys in front have been upstaged by a defender. But United have been rock solid at the back. And still they advance on all fronts. Seven First Division teams are going to disappear from the third round of the FA Cup by the time that's finished. Might be an open competition this season. A 2-legged semi-final in the Rumbelows Cup looming. And a championship issue to sort out with Leeds. What a thrilling 4 months ahead for Alex Ferguson's team. There's depth in the squad. There's Brian Robson and Dennis Irwin to come back. There's Mike Phelan, who's not figured tonight.
I don't think there's any question. This is the strongest Manchester United team and squad there's been in years.
The first big Roses battle goes the way of Lancashire. Manchester United haven't won the war. That will rage on in League and FA Cup. But they're bang on course for a return to Wembley, having once again removed Leeds from their Rumbelows Road. Clayton Blackmore's flying free kick even things up in the first half after Gary Speed had given Leeds the advantage. But 2 goals in the opening 10 minutes of the second from Kanchelskis and Giggs step Manchester United's authority on a memorable night for them and their supporters. Their schedule is busier than ever. The focus of their ambition spread across 3 fronts, but they'll be back here in 7 days' time looking to do exactly the same to Leeds United again if they can in the FA Cup. Everton on Saturday in the league is the next obstacle for them. There are a lot of very big obstacles between them and the prizes within their grasp, but they are all still within their grasp. It's been a memorable display by Manchester United, and Steve Bruce, their captain, is now with Robert McCaffrey.
We couldn't have the game quick enough, and all credit to the lads. They've buckled down tonight and they've given a great performance.
Must be, as a defender, looking forward to knock the ball forward and have players with the pace of Kanchelskis and Giggs after them. Must be a tremendous feeling.
Yeah, I mean, the 2 quality players, and usually battles their way up there as well, and it's tremendous to see when they're obviously playing like that.
Semi-finals in the Littlewoods Cup, what kind of psychological advantage does this give you for next week FA Cup match?
Well, I mean, it's another game. We know it's going to be a difficult game. Let's hope we can just play like we did tonight, and we'll enjoy it.
And it proves that Queen's Park Rangers were just a blip.
Well, let's hope it was a blip, and we were determined to put it right, and we did that.
Was it a blip or just New Year?
No, it was just a blip. I mean, we can look for all the excuses if we want. There was just too many of us on the day, including myself, who didn't perform, and it's as simple as that.
Steve, congratulations
Thanks.
tonight.
Well done. Thanks.
I think Rob's in a bit of a time warp, actually. It's the Rumbelows League Cup. It used to be the Littlewoods. Well, we wondered how much United's confidence had been dented by that 4-1 home defeat by Queen's Park Rangers on New Year's Day. They came up with the perfect answer this evening at Ellen Road. After the break, the thoughts of a Busby Babe. We'll be back. Welcome back. Manchester United well and truly through to the semi-finals of the Rumbelows League Cup, proving, John, that that New Year's Day defeat by Queen's Park Rangers at Old Trafford was a blip.
Well, it was a great match for them to come back in tonight. Big match, get their confidence back again, get back on the rails again, and they did that in style tonight.
Noticeable that Andrei Kanchelskis didn't play on New Year's Day, and yet he was out there today and got that all-important second goal.
Yes, I think Dorigo was a big loss for Leeds. There's McClellan letting him go, and Kanchelskis doing very well just to slide it under the body. But why McClellan let him go, I don't know. I think if Dorigo had played, he wouldn't have let him do that. There's number 7 making the run. There's McClellan looking as if he's looking to play offside, and he was never going to be offside in that position. We should have tracked him down there. But Kanchelskis did extremely well and finished it off brilliantly.
Mel Stirling made no effort whatsoever to get across and try and cover McClellan's lack of pace there. I must admit, I think we agreed throughout the game that defensively Leeds were a nightmare down the flanks.
Well, I think Sterling made a couple of mistakes early on, and I think his nerve went a little bit, and I don't think he ever recovered it. And I think from early on in the game, he was a weakness for Leeds. And I think Dorigo's loss at half-time, it was an extra blow for Leeds. I don't think Dorigo would have allowed Kanchelskis to go as free as he did for that goal there.
Or possibly Paul Parker to have all that time to cross in for the third goal, which came 4 minutes later. An absolute body blow, this one, for Leeds, wasn't it?
This was a big goal.
Look how much space he's got.
Yeah, Parker's a brilliant cross from Parker here. But if you watch Giggs put the ball in the back of the net, again, Sterling is behind him as he's doing that. Look, standing, almost looking at him do it. Now, Giggs did extremely well to get in there and finish it off. But Sterling had lost Giggs long before the ball had come across. And, of course, we only see it as the ball is going in the back of the net. But there was a lot happening before that, or a lot not happening, as the case might be in Sterling's case, because he should have tracked Giggs down and get into that's a real dangerous position where players are going to put the ball in the back of the net. And that's what wins and loses your matches. For the sake of a couple of yards, Sterling should have been back to try and clear that.
But a brilliant win for Manchester United. 3 other quarter-finals tonight, John, of course. Peterborough and Middlesbrough ended 0-0. We can go to White Hart Lane now. Spurs against Norwich. The commentator there is Brian Moore.
Little touch by Fox. Phillips is on ahead of him. Fox going on the overlap for Phillips. Tries to get it through to Fleck. Does so. Deflected in. Fox and Phillips down that flank. Played in there for Fleck. Mabbott, it came off his left knee. Anxious faces amongst the Spurs fans as Spurs continue to look for this equalising goal. Played on there, it's in there, knocked in by Walsh. Coming from a long throw, a little flick on there by Walsh, beyond Brian Dunn, and Spurs are level at 1-1. With 13 minutes of the game remaining. Abbott's up, Stewart's in there, Walsh of course is in there, Sedgley's in there, high come for Stewart, Lineker! And Spurs have come back from the dead to lead Norwich with 5 minutes of the game left. Sedgley very heavily involved here, and Stewart, then that lethal touch by Gary Lineker.
Oh, they left Gary Lineker all alone 5 yards from goal, John. They deserve to get beaten.
Well, the Poles did that in the European Championships when he scored that vital goal. And a player of Lineker's class, how anybody can leave him standing on his own in the 6-yard line without picking him up.
With 5 minutes to go, by the way.
Well, any time to go. The
well,
first minute is as bad as the last, but they should have picked him up, definitely there. But he took it well. He's typical Lineker, turned around, got a break, went through goalkeeper's legs.
He's got some courage, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's done extremely well. Good player, been a great player for Spurs and for England. And if you're looking for anybody to get your goal, you pick Gary Lineker.
Yeah, well, let's hope he's coming through what is a very trying time for him and his family at the moment. Another all First Division clash now for a place in the semi-finals, the Rumbelows. Crystal Palace against Nottingham Forest. Alan Parry at Selhurst Park.
Nigel Clough's header, but Kingsley Black couldn't win it. Humphrey getting it forward again. Tyler, he's given it to Gabbiadini. He's got McGoldrick overlapping and 2 players in the penalty area. Extended by Thomas. Well, it was total confusion on the near post, and in the end it might well have gone in off a Forest defender. Here's Charles. That's a good-looking ball. Glover. Close. It's the equaliser. And what a 17th anniversary present for the manager from his son.
Starts a 3-match suspension as well, John, Nigel Clough, but a good result that for Forest.
Yeah, good result. I think they had a long day with Palace last year in the FA Cup.
They did in the FA Cup, 3 games, yeah.
Big result again for them to score late on in the game like that. Took it well, Nigel Clough, turned on it well, scored it well.
Well, quite simply, can Leeds come back on Sunday on the match against Sheffield Wednesday?
Well, another big one for them, local Yorkshire derby match, and sometimes the bigger the match, the better, as United proved tonight, to come back and get get back on form. I think they can do it. If they're going to be the real McCoy, then they've got to prove on Sunday that they can come out and do it again.
Right. Well, for the sake of the championship, let's hope so. It really is a very big game for them. From John and myself, good night.
Soccer Night is sponsored by Rumbelows, supporting the best in British football.